I don't necessarily play for guitarists, I play for people. Beautiful music is beautiful music. It's not about what's difficult or what's not. We are here to play beautiful music to people, not to show others that we can do difficult stuff.
Welcome back to the Spanish Guitar Mastermind, where we look beyond the notes and we take a look at the unique journey of accomplished Spanish guitarists and break down the mindset, strategies, and habits that all went into creating the artists that they are today. Today, I'm honored to have on the show an internationally acclaimed Spanish classical guitarist, Pablo Sainz Villegas. As you're about to hear, I think that Pablo is redefining how a concert-level Spanish classical guitarist is connecting with audiences from all around the world. He has become an ambassador to Spanish guitar music. So welcome to the show, Pablo.
¿Qué tal? How are you? Very nice to meet you and to be with all of you.
Yeah, thank you for being here, Pablo. Really appreciate this. To start off, I just want to start off just like I do with most of my guests. For those who don't know your beginnings, and even for myself, which I don't know how you exactly started, but can you tell me a little bit about how you got started with Spanish guitar? Was it forced? Was it something that you were drawn into? How early?
Yes, I was 6 years old. I'm from Rioja in Spain. It's a wine country in the north of Spain. And when I was 6, my parents wanted me to receive guitar lessons. They knew a teacher. And as you know, most kids start with music, right? As a way to expand the kids' abilities and exploring new worlds. And in the beginning, it was very playful. I remember it was fun. My teacher would say that I was talented or I was gifted. I had an easiness with the instrument, and yeah, in the beginning everything was very playful. And I remember when I was 7, a year later, that this teacher organized like a concert for students, right, for family and friends. And that was the first time I was on a stage, and that day really defined my relationship with the guitar and the audience, which is really key now when I look backwards after so many decades. And that day really defined my fate with the instrument, because it was the first time I was sharing music with others. And what I felt that day was very unique. I was feeling that witness, the audience, that was projecting something that I hadn't felt before, and that was, that attention of the audience that projects on the music and on yourself, and then is that energy that either makes you better or makes you feel very nervous, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when I was 7, I felt so enlightened by that energy, but that sharing, but that experience, that I really loved it. So after that, I told my mom, okay, I want to experience this over and over again. So we started going to nursing homes in my home region. So every Sunday I would go and I would play, small pieces, small, very
Mm-hmm.
simple pieces. I wasn't like a wunderkind or something. I was like a regular guitar beginner student. But I was already living my dream, which was, playing for others. And at the same time, you realize that, or I realized that I was putting smiles on people's faces. And that's so beautiful, because in the end, music is about sharing, it's about bringing joy to people and sending a message that will make them feel better. And since then, it's been, of course, a long, long journey. And but that was my beginning with the instrument, and that day on the stage really shaped who I am today.
Well, that's pretty amazing that at that young of an age you had that moment, that enlightenment. Because for many, I think for many kids at that age, their main concern is, am I going to mess up? Am I going to screw up? But that you were able to have that exchange with the audience, because that's in the end, that's something that takes years sometimes to experience, that interchange of energy.
Yes, actually, it was when I was 7 that I was not fully aware of, responsibilities or perfection of all these things that, years later would incorporate as my own. And when you're a classical musician, you are trained in conservatories and in music schools to play perfect, right? But perfection doesn't exist. It's an ideal. So
Mm-hmm.
for many years, when I was 15, 18, 20, 25, um, uh, I was aware of, I wanted to be perfect, but I couldn't be perfect, because I'm human. So I would miss notes here and there, or, I wouldn't play as clean as I wished for. And then I was suffering, right? So after concerts, I would remember only the few places that I had
Mm-hmm.
missed, or the notes, and I would suffer, and I would get frustrated. So then I realized that I could develop a way to create the space of concentration, a very deep concentration state of mind, and I would be able to deliver very high quality. So I would be able to transcend the pressure, transcend the nervous of being on a stage just by being in that state of mind. Of course, I mean, and I won so many competitions and I was able to deliver a very, very high quality. But after years and years, I realized that it wasn't a natural process, an organic process. It was a forced process where, before a concert, I couldn't see anyone. I would be on my own, really concentrated, almost like a I don't know, like a Zen guy, and if something wouldn't be as a routine that I had planned, I would get nervous. So it was a very, very forced process,
Rigid, too
very
too
rigid.
rigid. Yeah, yeah.
Of course, I would deliver a very high quality, but after concerts, I would be very tired, very totally emotionally drained. And then I thought, well, if I'm spending 80% of my time practicing, or 90% of my time practicing, and only 10% on a stage, that 10% has to be worth. So I started to question all my routines, all these processes of how to uh, uh, play at my best in concert halls. And in that questioning, that was my next phase. And I evolved as a human being, as a guitarist. And it started with asking myself the question, why do I play the guitar? I mean, I had started when I was 6 years old. I had played by then, a few decades. It's like, well, if I wanted, I could give up guitar playing now and do other things. But do why do I play the guitar every morning? Why do I continue playing the guitar every morning? So that was a very humbling process, and taking a piece of paper and writing, why do I play the guitar? And then I started to realize uh, the aspect of the audience, the role of the audience,
Mm-hmm.
and who I am in relationship with the guitar. And understanding those two things, my conclusions were, well, I'm human, I'm not perfect. So I transmuted the concept of excellence, the concept of perfection into excellence.
Mm.
I'm not aiming to be perfect. I'm aiming to give the best of myself at any circumstance. And then everything what I do is for and because of the audience. The audience given a special meaning to every note I play through all these years of practice. So they are the witness of the music. They create the space of music with the performer on stage. And everything what I do is because of them. Music belongs to the people.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, we are there as an act of generosity, and this is like a community work. We are there for the community. We are there to bring people together. We are there to inspire people. And that the why started to respond the question. So it's all about the audience. It's all about giving the best of myself. It's about forgiving myself in my mistakes. It's about sharing everything, including those little mistakes, to the audience. And then the whole mindset, the whole ecosystem, the whole relationship with the stage on the audience changed like 180 degrees. And nowadays, I try to naturalize the process of going on stage. Every day is different because the circumstances are different. Sometimes I can
Hmm.
take naps, sometimes I cannot take a nap, sometimes I'm tired, sometimes I'm jet lagged, sometimes I fully great, and
Hmm.
all that is stage backstage. Is go
Hmm.
on stage, put smile, and think of the audience as the
Yeah.
ultimately recipient of every note. And going on stage in a state of vulnerability, opening myself, my heart to the audience, and showing them, well, this is who I am. This is with my, with my lights and my shades, and I have an honest story to share with you all. From there, it's a beautiful experience playing on stage, and I'm enjoying it as that 7-year-old kid that once was on a stage for the first time.
Very well put. Following up how you grew up in Spain, what type of role or influence did flamenco have on you? Did in the area where you grew up, was there flamenco, or was you didn't grow up too much around it? And did you, what was it that drew you more to Spanish classical than to flamenco?
Flamenco is much more in the south of Spain, in Andalusia, in Madrid, in Barcelona. I was from a small provincial town in the north of Spain, Logroño, and didn't have- I didn't have any contact with flamenco music at the time. I remember when I was 8, probably, I listened to Narciso Yepes playing a concert in my hometown. He was playing with Nicanor Zabaleta, the harpist, and that's a beautiful memory I have from those years. But in any case, even though I didn't have any flamenco influence around me, and it was more classical, when you're in Spain, flamenco is part of the soundtrack somehow of your life, in the festivities, in on
Hmm.
TV, on the radio, a taxi driver singing something. It's part of the musical memories that any person growing up in Spain has. And then there is this kind of a crossover of flamenco, which expresses in so many different styles, like the traditional tonadilleras, which are these folk traditional singers that were very very popular when I was growing up, and that has a strong influence from flamenco, but it's not flamenco. So there is this gray lines between flamenco
Hmm.
popular music in Spain and folk music from Spain that is
Right.
intertwined, and all that is part of the musical memories I have, and with the musical memories that you grew up. So somehow, even though I cannot say I come from the flamenco tradition, but
Hmm.
um, all those breeze and aromas,
Right.
speak flamenco. Yeah.
It's just part of the lifestyle and the culture. Yeah, you can't escape it.
Yeah, exactly. So there are certain things that I don't rationalize, and it's like, well, a rasgueado with a certain technique or with a certain attack or character.
Hmm.
I don't know why I do it, but I know that's the way to do it because that's how I
Right.
grew up with, right? Listening to it.
Well, I also have to mention that anybody who hasn't seen it has to check out that episode with you and Tomatito
Uh-huh.
that aired in Spain. I thought that was really interesting, very cool to watch the two maestros there, like comparing and just kind of chilled, relaxed, kind of comparing notes, and you can hear the differences, but also some of the things that cross over and some of the connections and what connects the two styles as well, or just like in anything, what connects any type of musical genre. In the end, it's The same principles of
Yeah,
connecting with the.
it's music, and it's music played with a guitar, and we use different expressive tools and different drama behind. But in the
Hmm.
end, both styles go to the same place, to touch people's hearts, and
Right.
we do it through different paths, but not that far away. Actually, it's more about how the sound is expressed and the
Right.
rhythms and the foundations of flamenco and classical music. But in the end, it's all about music, and yeah, it was a fun experience to get to know Tomatito and talk about music.
Well, based on what you were just saying as well, I mean, it seems like that's your theme. You're very much about the people in the audience and doing this for them, which is that is what it's all about. Um, I wanted to get into a little bit of your online presence and your branding through some of the videos that you make and some of the song selections, your repertoire that you choose to record and put out there. One of the things that's very interesting about you is that you're bridging the gap, I think, between like the elite concert level guitarist and then your everyday just Spanish guitar aficionado who just maybe they don't know too much about Spanish classical, but they just know a little bit a melody here, a melody there. So I love that you record and you're okay with being a concert level performer, but then you're okay also recording pieces like Adelita or Lagrima or Romanza. And I heard you played various versions of Romanza on your on Instagram. And I think it's great because I'm all about it's not about the level of the music or it's about what connects emotionally, what will draw in people into a style that they're not used to. Um, so I think that's an awesome gap. But unfortunately, I think there's also some performers that wouldn't want to put pieces like that in the forefront of their branding because they think they're beyond it or they think that if they play at this level they can't play pieces like this because that's not what they do. So what do you have to say about that? Do you do it for yourself or do you do it for the people or is it a combination of the both because you enjoy the pieces? I'm curious to know a little bit more about your decisions with that.
I mean, definitely it's because I love those pieces too. But the main thing is understanding your audience and what's your purpose. We go back to the why, right?
Hmm.
So that's really important. And there can be so many different whys. In the end, every artist has the right to express his voice and to fulfill his purpose wherever it is. And any purpose is going to be noble if it's truthful to yourself. So, to me, the guitar is one of the most democratic instruments that there is, and it has always had a bridge on the popular, a bridge on the classical, a foot on the classical, a foot on the popular, since the Renaissance, right? With the troubadours playing on the streets, and but also
Hmm.
playing counterpoint in the castles and in the palaces. So. To me, it's all about bringing music to the people, and outreaching to new audiences as well. I don't necessarily play for guitarists. I play for people, and
I
also
love that answer. Yeah.
guitarists are welcome to enjoy the beautiful repertoire that I play and that we have and that we honor,
Yeah.
because you realize that the classical guitar has lost a connection with the wider audiences beyond guitarists. So, to me, that's key to reconnect again with an audience, because Andres Segovia transcended not only the guitar world but also the music world, and it became a cultural leader in the world. And my doorman here in New York City, when he saw me with the guitar one day, he mentioned, "Wow, wow, you play the guitar, oh, the classical guitar. Wow, I listened to Andres Segovia when I was young." So it depends, what you want to do with your music. And I want to bring the classical Spanish guitar and its beautiful repertoire that has made the guitar transcend the guitar world and the music world, um, to go back to that place.
Yeah.
There are so many people that don't know what the classical guitar is. Everyone knows what a guitar is, but most of the time, most people, I'm not talking about guitarists, I'm talking about people on the streets.
Hmm.
If they think of a guitar, they think of electric guitar. If some of them think of an acoustic guitar, they think of flamenco guitar. Some people, or most people, are going to tell you, oh, like Paco de Lucia.
Hmm.
But they're not going to tell you anymore, like John Williams, or Andres Segovia, or David Russell, or
Right.
Barreco.
Right.
What happened? There was a point where we lost connection with the wider audiences that in the past we had. So, understanding my audience and my purpose is all about bringing that music to those people, because those people relate more to the guitar and the guitar repertoire than to a piano or a violin. And I'm talking not about music lovers that
Mhm.
go to the symphonies and classical music concerts on daily basis. No, I'm talking about any people
Right.
on the street. You go with a violin, a Bach partita, and you go with Recuerdos de la Alhambra, and they're going to love Recuerdos de la Alhambra. And they will
Hmm.
be wondering how you can do, so many different layers of music, and it sounds like two guitars. And
Right.
well,
Right.
so first, the guitar has a beautiful repertoire, and to me, beautiful music is beautiful music. It's not about what's difficult or what's not. We are here to play beautiful music to people, not to show others that we can do difficult stuff. And I'm sharing with you this also bringing awareness that so many years ago, I spent 6 years of my life playing Sequenza 11 by Luciano Berio. Most guitarists don't know that piece even. 6 years of my life to play the most difficult piece ever written for the guitar.
Mm.
6 years of my life. And at that time, I loved that music, and still I love it now, but it doesn't fulfill my purpose to bring classical Spanish guitar to new audiences. So, I love all different kinds of repertoire. I love beautiful pieces for the classical guitar that are sometimes different than the ones I'm playing on concert halls, but it's all about understanding my audience and fulfilling my purpose. So, yeah, and this is true to who I am, true to myself, to my soul, and also to my purpose of bringing the guitar back to the main stages, to the main orchestras. When I played with the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra, uh, it had been, I think, 38 years since Narciso Yepes played with the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra at the Philharmonie in Berlin.
Okay.
When I played with Chicago, the last one was John Williams in 2001, and that I played with them in 2000, I think 16 the first time, and this has been my third time. Just played with Riccardo Muti,
Hmm.
who the last time that played with a guitarist was also, like 40 something years ago, with Narciso Yepes. 40 something
Okay.
years ago. 40 something years ago that the guitar hadn't been in Berlin. 20 something years they didn't have any guitar in Chicago. So what do we do about it, right? And it's our responsibility. Do we want to really bring the guitar back to the main stages so we can all make a good living out of it?
Yeah.
So this is our responsibility also. And that goes through understanding the audiences and understanding the promoters. And, you know, uh, promoters and most artistic administrators of orchestras, they don't know anything beyond Concierto de Aranjuez.
Mm.
So for them, just considering the guitar once every 3 decades, they're going to think of Concierto Aranjuez.
Yeah.
You go with them, it's like, oh, no, 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 no. Just go with the Ponce or with Castelnuovo Tedesco or Villalobos. What's that? They don't know it. Unfortunately, they
Hmm.
don't know that repertoire. So to me, it's about going into these doors with Concierto Aranjuez, and then expanding their horizons with other repertoire and also new commissions. And that's
Hmm.
also part of what I do. Every 2 years I commission a new guitar concerto. The last one is being Arturo Marquez, the Mexican composer, composed a concerto for me. And that's part of my work and my strategy and how to build up all these things that require vision, time, and bringing so many people together and coordinate all that.
Thank you for that transparent answer, and I love your philosophy on all of this. Because honestly, myself, for somebody who grew up here without Spanish culture, and I didn't grow up with classical guitar culture either. For me, my first love in music was rock guitar here, and then I discovered flamenco was the first type of Spanish guitar that I discovered because of going to Spain in college. And then next was classical guitar, but it was very hard for me to like it at first, to like really find my route into classical guitar. But it was thankfully to pieces like a lot of Taraga and um, Astor Piazzolla, pieces that are very melodic and catchy, to one that at first that's like the bridge, the gateway. So I feel like a lot of these pieces that you play are the reasons that I was able to kind of find my way into classic Spanish classical, and then eventually start moving into some of the more hefty stuff, and enjoying a little bit of everything. But I dig it. I dig it. I like that approach, because without some of those, especially in a contemporary world like today, where it's harder to get people, you have to draw them in with the best of first.
Yes, and then, as I said, I'm very committed to new commissions, and I
Yeah,
think it's part of my
that's
responsibility to bring new composers to continue
right.
writing for the guitar, so we can continue
To
expand
continue. Yeah.
repertoire. And yeah, and we have such a beautiful repertoire. And then also, it's important to bear in mind when you record for Sony or for Deutsche Grammophon or all these labels, you need to understand that they have a big pressure on selling as well. So
Hmm.
they are going to guide and to in some moments also imposed the direction of that album
Okay.
and the content of that album. So because they are making and investing on you, they are investing in you, and they want a return. So in the world that we live in now, it's all about playlists and about how many listeners are going to listen to your tune. So it's more complex than what you think to be part of this music world or this
Hmm.
business, which
Hmm.
is like an ecosystem where different parts are interacting to each other, and all of them need to grow.
Now, just to move on, for the guitarists out there, or even for the general public, just to know what goes on behind the scenes, can you tell me a little bit about your everyday practice routine, or your regular practice routine, versus also like when you're prepping for a concert? How much things change when you're prepping for a concert? How much time you typically put in just to maintain or to work on your usual repertoire?
Yes, so I travel around 120, 140 flights a year.
Wow.
That's one every 3 days or something.
Oh, wow.
I do the average, right? So those days is hard to play. It's hard to practice because sometimes it's like 8 hours, 10 hours,
Hmm.
15 hours, and then you arrive late, tired, with jet lag. So to me right now, it's about maximizing the time I have, and practice, very focused on what I need. And when you look at the concert schedule with 60, 70 concerts a year, it's about the programs, where what are you playing, where and when, so you can uh, build up the practice around those programs. Um, so it's hard for me now to keep a routine that I repeat every day because of
Okay.
that, because of the traveling. But definitely, my when I have days of practice, I mean when I don't have a concert or rehearsals and neither flights, is spending the whole day with the guitar. So it's
Okay.
sometimes it's a day that I couldn't practice, and the following day, I'm spending 8 hours. And then, there are 3 days that I can practice only perhaps 2 hours or 1 hour.
Okay.
So it's maximizing the time I have and in relationship to the programs. Then I have my routines in warming up, which always include the three basic aspects of the right hand, which are arpeggios, tremolo, and then scales with rest stroke.
Okay.
Uh, then I include my exercise with my for my left hand, and includes like just different repetitions about speed, and then synchronization of both hands. And yeah, those are the basic warm-up exercises I do. Usually, it takes me like 15 minutes or so, and
Okay.
then I go right into different passages I'm working on. If it's the day of the concert, I go to specific sections. If I'm right before the concert, I just go to 3, 4 places, and it's about you know the perception of my body and my hands, because to me technique is the perception of pure movement. It's how you perceive your body, and you maximize the movement, the effort, the energy that you need to provide that sound that you want.
On concert days, do you ever like to run full pieces or a full set list or never that not that much?
No, no,
Too
not
much.
not the full thing. That's too much for me. In the end, I want to arrive to the concert really fresh. So I do like to warm up and practice like 1 hour or so, or 2 hours the most in the morning. Then, if I can, I like to take a nap, and then from the nap, going into the concert hall and give my best. No, it's about being fresh, being vulnerable, being rested as much as possible. But if you are not because you couldn't, also bring in the best smile, and
Yeah.
anything, whatever circumstances are around the concert, always in my case stay backstage, and yeah, and put in an intention, right? The intention is so powerful. So that is very much linked to the why. So I think music is so powerful and so vulnerable at the same time. And to me, playing music and playing the guitar is like a pyramid. The foundation is technique that enable us to express musically, that enable us to express emotionally.
Hmm.
And then, and that is all about you. It's not about the music itself. It's how you relate to the music. And those thin layers going into the top are the ones that are going to make a difference when people hears you. And when you are vulnerable to the music you are playing, when you put a message into the music and an intention, then music will have a purpose, will have a direction, will have a message, and it will transcend the music itself. And music becomes like a vessel to transmit an idea. And that message is going to transmute, because the message that people will receive is going to be their own message, the one that they are willing or wanted to receive. So to me, music can go into the metaphysics so easily, and it's all about vulnerability, and that's the thing that I learned the most with the guitar, because the guitar becomes a natural and a very transparent mirror of myself, and in that mirror, I've seen my my gifts, my certainties, and my doubts, and my fears, and everything.
Mhm.
And that journey, I think every human being and every musician and every guitarist have felt. And that's, the best teaching lesson that the guitar could give me, how to grow as a human being. And no matter what, and even in my worst days, I would get up in the morning and I would go back to the guitar. So there is something that always, brought me back to the guitar, and transcending my own fears, my own doubts, and embracing all who I am. And this is, to me, the most beautiful lesson that the guitar has taught me, and that's, to me, the most beautiful thing I can share with the audience when I'm on stage. It's all about going there, opening your heart, so they can do the same. Because in the end, the music and the guitar is the most transparent mirror of themselves, of the audience. So the audience want to experience something unique, and music brings you to those unique places if you are vulnerable enough to create that space for them.
Pablo, on that note of making the music your own and transmitting yourself through the music, I'm just curious. I know it's a lot about factors in musicality and some things that involve technique, but just related to that, how comfortable are you when you say making it your own, interpreting it your own, in terms of changing directions of the composer or changing maybe whether it be a tempo or maybe even a rhythmic pattern maybe that you start interpreting in a little bit of a different manner. Are you comfortable making those changes, or do you prefer to respect the composer's wishes?
Well, I think there is room for both. I think um, the interpreter fits and is part of the emotional journey of the composer, as far as you respect what he's written, and that's the structure and the cathedral that has done through music. I think the more subtle you become with your musical decisions as a performer, um the wider spectrum of decisions you are going to have. So it's not about black and white. It's not about, if it's a quarter note, why do you play an eighth note, right? Uh, it's about that quarter note, how you can, bend it over and make it, something that is right there, because it's about, bringing freedom to those notes, bringing freedom to music, but, holding the structure of the whole thing. And I think we have so many possibilities to express ourselves without changing what the composer wrote. And the more subtle we are with our musical decisions, the more horizons we are going to have to express ourselves. So I think there is so much room if we go into the expressive tools of articulations, of breaths, about pulses, about phrasing, and all those things. They give us so much freedom to phrase something in 8 measures, or 4 and 4, or 2 2 and 4, or
Mhm.
or the pulses. You want to feel the pulse every measure, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, or you want to do every 4 measures, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. So there are so many ways to express ourselves, and in any case, you are playing what the composer wanted. So to me, it's about, I have so much respect for the composer and what he wrote, and in the end, for us, is to be part of that musical discourse, and to be bold with our musical ideas, but always respecting within the limits of what he wrote.
Pablo, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, so I'm going to start wrapping it up. And just want to finish on a little bit of a silly question. I try to think of something silly to ask maybe. And so to finish off, I just want to ask if your guitar could speak and say something to you, one complain and one thank you from all your years of playing, all your performances, travels, what would be one complaint they would say and one appreciative thank you?
Well, I think one thank you. Well, I'll start with a complaint, right? So we finished with a thank you. um, One complaint is that I don't clean the guitar that much. I'm changing the guitars all the time. I'm changing the strings all the time, and and when I was a teenager, I used to clean off the frets and all
Okay,
parts of the bridge and everything.
took
Now,
time.
it's like, yeah.
This
Next concert, changing strings, go.
yeah, go.
So yeah, I think the guitar would complain about it. And one thank you is, bringing her to all these beautiful moments, musical moments that I have shared with thousands of people, and that I've made music with so many wonderful musicians. To bring the guitar, and because of the guitar, to get to know so many wonderful artists like the film composer John Williams, or playing with Yo-Yo Ma or Plácido Domingo.
Hmm.
And music has brought me to all those places, to get to know to all those people, and to stages in the world, that moments that I will never forget. And I think the guitar is grateful for those moments as well.
Amazing, yeah. Well, Pablo, I think you're an amazing ambassador to the Spanish guitar and Spanish music, and I love your whole philosophy. It sounds like you're very focused on mindset and really understanding your purpose, which I think those are two things which I love to focus on in my life and for this podcast as well, to delve into people's different guitarists' mindset and understanding their purpose. And it sounds like you were very aware of this from childhood. So you're teaching people to understand that the guitar isn't just to be played to play a song, but it's to make the guitar speak and to connect with people and to also have your culture travel around the world and spread culture throughout the world. So
And to me, right now, in the moments we live, we need more art, more music, the things that brings people together, and we all have that. And when we think in those terms, playing Adelita or playing Brower, it doesn't matter. It's wherever you
yeah,
play, put a purpose, bringing people together, because all guitarists, all musicians, we have a beautiful purpose nowadays. And that's to humanize this world, to bring people together, to remind people that we have an extraordinary ability to feel, and through feelings and emotions and connecting people, we develop empathy, and through empathy we make this world more bearable. So it's exactly that, and that would like to be my last message. It's like, all the musicians, all the guitarists that are listening to this, is like, we have a beautiful job, a beautiful purpose. We bring music to people, and music unifies the human condition like no other thing. So yeah, all the best to all of you. Thank you for playing the guitar. Thank you for playing music, for enjoying music, and for believing in a world of emotions through the soundtrack of music.
well, for anybody who would like to follow Pablo, you can find him on Instagram, other social media channels. Follow his YouTube channels where you can see all his videos and some of your mini tutorials as well, which I found interesting. And thank you so much for listening, watching. Thank you, Pablo. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Spanish Guitar Mastermind.
Thank you. Oye, mucha suerte con todo, David. También una inspiración todo lo que haces. Mucho ánimo por llevar todo este mensaje de la guitarra a otros music lovers y guitarristas. Y espero que tengamos la oportunidad de seguir charlando pronto.